Gilg Jew, Gilg J as Gilg Claare.
As my so sure that Claare na Gael viscoil tayacht has shame a hat just say us haltiger. My name is Robert Cutting Carswell, Robert a Carslach.
Have I heard tell of old Bobby Bob?
And this programme is called Claare na Gael, in which you'll hear part of it in the English language, as Angie Neoclash and Perchi Sahilg, and in which you'll hear part of it in the Manx Gaelic, Chinyanamera, the mother tongue of Ellen Vanning, the Isle of Man. As Bannacht and the Rish. This year sees a general election for the House of Keys. A campaigner for an elected Keys was the owner of the Monas Herald, Robert Farragut, but he didn't live to see it, dying in 1863. Then his son John Christian Farragut took over the Monas Herald, but he deputed editorship to his younger brother John Bowring Farragut, and I think it's John Bowring's Farragut work that we dip into here. Ten drach ven rein a chor mooi fa chomre, as engel gus tai na siachre bassanen, as benid sniachti frail taiern en son en shen. Ten ben rein chor eber maru benid sniachti dech hier tanne, nod van een nieneg, faden a seilen ish. The cry of Hebba let Cornish fishermen know that pilchards had been spotted off the coast. Once caught, they were salt-cured, as in this song, written by Cornish fisherman John Boson, 1655 to 1730, Towers Geisjachlish Radio Vanning, Station and Ashun, Viscol Scalia Mark by Doolish, Ellen Vanning.
With you all and cocoa de the stray. Dega dega crea dis a parahan. Dud mortis po dega dega crea. Dega dega crea dis a parahan. Hun hun holamoy gen gana lisa crea. Hun hun holamoy. Caneth a ben and august our toes won't teen. Dega dega crea dis a parahan. Gen try cancer and calorie keen. Gen gana lisa crea hun hun holamoy. Lisa Crea, hun holamoy. You have my book where and hun para. Dig a Crea, Lisa para. In Marvis Quella Joy, a bed and wara. Dig a Crea, Lisa para. Hun holamoy. Gen Gana Lisa Crea, hun holamoy. My pace hun the cara, all on base. Dig a Crea, Lisa para. Moy pobble buckle, Jack Bell, pobble bros. Dig a Crea, Lisa para. Hun holamoy. Gen Gana Lisa Crea, hun holamoy.
The song Parahern, the pilchard people, calling for Holland Moy, more salt to cure the fish. That was written in Cornish by the fisherman John Boson of Paul, a village just outside Newlyn. That was some of the verses, at least. He wrote 15 verses in all for it, and we heard about 6 of them by Cornish band Dalla. The song includes the word dega, which is a 10th part, a tithe, so they were always unpopular, whatever they might have thought of their clergyman. This is the leader from the Mona's Herald for the 24th of May 1865, so written, I think, by Robert Bowring Farga. No Manx journal, existing or defunct, has so systematically and uniformly opposed the House of Keys as the Mona's Herald. For considerably more than quarter of a century, we've held only one language to the irresponsibles, the language of settled, fixed, unwavering and uncompromising hostility, not to the Keys personally, but to the constitution of the House, to the basis and framework of the entire edifice. In this department of public duty we laboured long and alone, except that we were encouraged and assisted by the kind wishes of a sympathising public. Other journals, as befitted them, have used coarser epithets, but none have laboured so unweariedly, none have opposed so vehemently. In dark and cloudy days, when it was no light thing to confront this house, we were at our post. In storm or sunshine, the herald was always the same. Haia ben rein gus tai na siach cribassanen mor ben chadja va crec leitjer. Ach renny cion a leitjach o John McGeet Bennett sniachdi, de rawi cor littermasori tarn enol. De Gael henk na siach cribassanen tai as honnigad de rau shen morvei, as rennet giara leitje. En nageert henke ben rein ons vaar gomelje, les kier valt pishoenit. As gelees huggy shen stiach ons valt Bennett sniachdi, hutch Bennett sniachdi gin mjorgus a leir. Brish de Gael henk na siach cribassan an tai, as rennet tar mach as a chier valt fishoenit, as ren Bennett sniachdi cowrel. Nisht an wen rein olk jit va chomrich mor ben vodach, de bakrek oelen. Van ben rein nörlige oel wijn les liegen en rushag, as geder au kumme en oel 4 eilen, de jenech peige bieve fagene gin aures goid vadiacht na jai, quaier be jenech eer beg en beg jen arn rushag, jenech a peig shen gedden bass. Now this is a very well-known Irish song with the personification of Ireland as An Chan Van Vach, the poor old woman, and it's sung by Moran Nicoliv with the Irish Chamber Orchestra.
Tána Frankig tachter sále her sa tan van bach, Tána Frankig tachter sále her sa tan van bach. Táid a tachla sílte ré, sped an sále fáin le, sped ar náid go cráte tré her sa tan van bach. Is kam ekrinúna féine her sa tan van bach, Is kam ekrinúna féine her sa tan van bach. Yes, van de lan rave, goshkil dar a rover have, Big glan is slí de fuir sa tanban bad. Is a bhaimid fós sír sa tanban bad. Is a bhaimid fós sír sa tanban bad. Be mit dir van is gref, be mit ó hef go thaf, go jola cairn in lever sa tanban bad. Is cén dá veg in order sa tanban bad. Is cén dá veg in order sa tanban bad. Ra dúine bug a chord, goid a squab in wachter bor. Sfuid it fuadroch dúis le fóilir sa tanban bar. Tá na Frankig tacht sáile sa tanban bach. Tá na Frankig tacht sáile sa tanban bar. Táid a tacht le sílte ré, sped an sáile fáin le. Speg ar nád go cráide tréir sa tanban bach. Speg ar nád go cráide tréir sa tanban bach.
Tána Frangi teacht Harsalia as St. John van Vach. The French are coming across the briny, said the poor old woman. And it's a song from the fight for Irish Home Rule, when the United Irishmen expected French help with an incursion at Bantry Bay in 1796, but it failed to get ashore. Well, that was Muireann Nic Cowliv and the Irish Chamber Orchestra. A chanel ben it sneach die Heraldach da, Fosl and Doris den Shan ben Shaw, a ben Bodach Morty Shilton, nod wel na Shach Cribassan and a cho rauji ginshan a ynu, al, de Jinnach ben rein cor ebelia, maru ben it sneachti. Bain unig, ta ben it sneachti ginch, den ben Bodach, na belly lawich noder de Jannige weg. My de lure dregger ben Bodach morbiji in the way. Fodum de heis ach krek nul en em boller bij elje. Ach nishesh. Ach nishesh nim cor fer Dutch. Na gin shen dregger ben it snakti chal joost au Gael weg. Velu Gael al rosh pishoen door de wen. Jiches Sean nim giara nul ons de fish. Nios Gael a chow rushag nim Gael a chow wen. Son, van oel jint go kruid achter au uljuwe fisjoen sul je aarn rushagji. But ben het snjachti Gael fadiach na jai in noel. The Monas Herald leader continues. Our opposition to the keys didn't originate in a desire to see them abolished. It wasn't abolition, but reformation we wanted. It was not the destruction of the Constitution, but its subjugation to the interests and its identification with the spirit of the people. Objects these sufficiently important to command our attention and justify our interference. Nor have those labours been in vain. Stimulated by our example, others have assailed the keys and joined in the attacks at the last hour, when the burden and heat of the day were over. It's not, however, to rail at newcomers or to sing our own praises that we once again revert to this topic, but to congratulate the keys themselves upon their improved tone, and upon their greatly mended manners. It is but bare justice to our insular legislators to say that the last 2 or 3 years has seen a considerable change in their way of doing business, with one notorious exception, a change for the better. dance music from Wales from a recording called Toompath, which takes its name from the name for a Welsh ceili there, Toompath. And that recording was made for the Cymdeithas Dawns Werin Cymru, the Welsh Folk Dance Society, by the band D Werin. Seo stasiwn yn asiwn y siendagrau radio banning, as an seo sé Claare na Gael vis reclash neg yn treid hon, mish Robert Cutting Carswell, Robert a Carslach.
Have you heard tell of old Bobby Bob?
Ma vis golgus in a dega radio banning, as brew a craman eish rish, for the clash and Claare na Gael rish for shacht and luggy guller scale mach. The podcast sé Claare na Gael regedden nastinius in a dega radio banning, na trúd an reich the podcast ed. Apple Podcasts, Amazon Audible, Spotify, Google Podcasts, TuneIn, na Alexa. Whilst praising an improvement in general in the attitude of members of the House of Keys to notions of reform, the Manx Herald here refers to a certain notorious exception. And that came in 1864, when the newspaper proprietors were wrongfully and maliciously accused of contempt of court for writing against the Keys, criticising them heavily. Famously, James Brown of the Isle of Man Times chose to maintain his attack and was wrongfully imprisoned in Castle Rushen, for which the Keys later had to pay him damages, and he took great delight in being photographed editing the Isle of Man Times from his cell in Castle Rushen. The Manx Herald explains how some things have improved over the years. Some of the most obstructive members have been removed by the hand of death. Others, seeing what is doing elsewhere, have moderated their preposterous pretensions and accommodated themselves more to the customs of the age and the requirements of the times. It was hard work, no doubt, for men accustomed to look upon themselves as something out of the common way and as being superior to and independent of popular applause. Ernod ren benid sniach die fagen a ven bodach dar a wish, Gee meer genul, gedoddy frail by na soja. Ach rennen shina mach a lawek, as gawi a lye arn pishoonit. Ach a lias vi an oil sleg jay stjachs a viek, stjachs a vilek, hut jay shees a tolu, mor de bergi maru. As ren a ven rain, as ish cow shilja aglach ori, gerach diere des dilemach, ge ben a sniachte, ge jurgus fool, ge do as ebony, a chir shoch a beabli dek na cribassan an de chorugus bios rish. As tre hai de balia, as braid in gles hurastal er a vola mortau, koi bis a fersele asul u jau. Fe jere, hug e fregert, sheos nisht en fersele jawolju. Eish was she eg a chrí ledden trú eg. Chwisjes fuddy she be eg chrí ledden trú. Tre hengt na cribassan an de valias a fast de beg, chuad benid sniacht in a liar a tolu, as gedenk ennel bi mach as a biel, as vi maru. A Scottish singer, Misha Macpherson, was here with her trio for Chroniach a few years ago, performing in a beautiful concert in St. Germans Cathedral. But she didn't get any sleep, according to this song.
Hoog sin jarn gutin an du ik svan jou du verne pianen valjo eljo elinje so valjo och at du is min kato valjo eljo elinje so. Dorstig harish, valjo eljo elinje so, valjo och at ut min kato, valjo eljo elinje so. Helshin kun be mövne hoa kruach en mode vage kastil, valjo eljo elinje so, valjo sin suesco porche svamuch kjolan bjore stramme faljo eljo elinje så faljo hat duir min gata faljo eljo elinje så faroleit svane speden tei in jedem lichen bare faljo eljo elinje så faljo hat duir min gata faljo eljo elinje så
Chadur me in Cadal. I didn't get the sleeping. I got no sleep, so said Misha Macpherson in that traditional Scottish song. Ren de crevassan and troggle soos benid sniachti. Ren ad ronsiger rau beg niawach regedden. Ren ad giaren a leitchigen ek. Ren ad kira a foltek. Ren ad glenne lesh ustjes lesh fin. Ach volju ons vaardeel. Van peidje waag maru. Is ren e tannachten maru. Esh ren het kori na laier carbage. As ren ulju na sjachtjau magutege. As ren het Kenya, as dobberen rish 3 lion glen. As esh werget der onlucky i. Ach, de raui gien fos, mor de bergi bio. Leis na liegen en eilen ek, maar roosen me blij. Maar zo doort dat. Genad much vollige hier soels a talu do. As eich, ren dat coffin as gles clear, de wat sly gien stjach on, by de chuljuch jou. As hugge dien a lion. As ren het skriw ons letter en era en enemek. As de raui in yin ree. Esh ren het cor a coffin mach a cliw. As we fairjou de kinjach tannachten und shen ljorish de frail ara. Now, of those who felt they were superior beings, the Mona's Herald continues. It was cruel to have to come down from their elevated position and think and act and talk like rational men. However this may be, and to whomsoever the praise be due, the Reformation has set in. The Keys are now like sensible men, willing to legislate to the best of their ability in the interests of the people, and hold themselves, after a fashion, as representative, expected to do the work of the public. With only 1 or 2 melancholy exceptions, the talk of the Keys is now perfectly rational and coherent, and the majority of them are wishful of being considered the servants of the masses. This is as it should be. We hail the changes of good import to Mona. On Wednesday last, the Keys decided to vote publicly and not in the dark as heretofore. To the honour of Mr. Ridgway Harrison, a native of Douglas, let it be recorded that he was the advocate and proposer of the resolution abolishing secret voting. Now, drawn together by a love of working on boats and sailing and of music, the Breton band Les Oufs du Dijon sing about La Femme Poisson, literally the fish woman or the mermaid.
Il nous est arrivé une bien étrange histoire qu'il nous faut raconter, bien qu'elle soit dure à croire. C'est lors d'une croisière où le vent était absent, sous le tropique du cancer, ce qui arrive souvent. Après 10 semaines sans rides, sans air sur l'océan, la cambuse était vide, rien à mettre sous la dent. Comme nous avions la dalle pour faire un bon repas, c'est au fond de la cale qu'on a chassé les rats. Et le gibier manquant, ainsi que les poissons, il fallut pas longtemps pour finir nos rations. Jim, notre commandant, qui était un bon père, nous dit mes pauvres enfants, je sais ce qu'il me reste à faire. Moi qui ai si souvent mes garçons à manger, ce soir c'est différent, c'est moi qui serai croqué. Nous fîmes la prière pour lui, pauvre martyr, il se donnait à ses frères pour pas les voir mourir. Alors jusqu'au moment où nous allons l'oxyre, venant de l'océan, on entendit un rire. C'était une femme poisson d'une grande beauté, ses cheveux étaient blonds, sa peau était nacrée, son sourire étincelant, plus brillant qu'un diamant, et ses jolis petits seins auraient damné un saint. Et lorsque l'on a vu ses jolies mains palmées, c'est par une queue fourchue qu'elle était terminée. On s'est dit à l'oreille qu'on devrait la manger et qu'une sauce à l'oseille pourrait la cocoter. Notre capitaine affable nous dit je vais l'inviter ce soir à notre table, elle sera au souper. La pauvre femme poisson ne s'est pas aperçue que c'est au courbouillon qu'elle a servi de menu. Croyez-moi capitaine, jamais désespéré, y a toujours une sirène qu'on pourra se taper. Croyez-moi capitaine, jamais désespéré, y a toujours une sirène qu'on pourra se taper.
A song La Femme Poisson, The Mermaid, with lyrics by Alain Mongeret and music by Marc Bain. And they're former members of the group Les Oufs du Dijon, but their legacy lingers on, and their songs are still performed by the band, which is based on the north coast of Brittany, Les Oufs du Dijon. Dijon was the original boat builder, and he gathered the group round him because they used to come along and help in the repair of the boats and go sailing with them and so on. So that's how the group got together, and they enjoyed singing and playing together. On the 28th of April last year, the Mona's Herald leader says, so that would be in 1864, Mr. Harrison brought forward a similar proposition, that's to say for the abolition of secret voting, but it was overruled. Some of the members even going so far as to appeal privately to him and express a doubt whether he was true to his oath as a member of the House in bringing forward such a proposition. Now, however, the whole of the members have unanimously agreed to the resolution. But the Keys have done more. They've not only abolished secret voting, but they've respectfully requested the Council to throw its doors open to the public. What a change in political sentiment have these Keys experienced. Only 30 years ago, they themselves sat with closed doors and jealously guarded against the intrusion of either the people or the people's representatives, the press. As Henk yn Yinli Gesenius, as renna dobberen son Bernard Sniachti a clew, hoyacht hullad, esh, fiach, as verjere, kalmen. Nish son tre soja, wa Bernard Sniachti na lais a choffin, as ha denk kach lei a bi yori. Ach vi Jane mar de bergi na kadla, no de rawi fos ge Bernard Sniachta ge jurges fool, as de rawe voltek ge do as ebony. Ach hagerei, de luide raw, ren mac ri markiach truden Gael, as soos gus tai na cribassanen, bepagus gi. Honnig a clew a coffin, as Bernard Sniachti weach joust je, as ren liai na bescruter ons letter en era. Esh, dort rish na cribassanen, lieg gi den coffin by Emmas, as nim cordu creer bi babaliu shira hon. Ach dinch na cribassanen, no, gamalishal, ach dinch na cribassanen de na dodded scarerish son ulju en sa tail. Ach doordeschen, tammy gui eriu de chordawe, no na wadum tanachten bio, gin jean Bernard Sniachti. Some more dance music, and this time a recording made for the Manx Folk Dance Society, with music written by Philip Leighton Stoll for the dances he composed, and Billy Cairn, the Mountain Ash or Rowan Tree, and Gathering the Barley. Siodat stasiwn yn asiwn radio banning, ys Claare na Gael wisgol sgelia mach, mer yn pin Robert gyda'n carswal, Robert a carslach.
Did the other hear tell of old Bobby Bob?
Ren mac a rí frail rys gwy na cribassan yn dyliegade goel y coffin as bened sniach dion. Ys dwrt ei rw. Ma bisiw cordel nim cordiw honor wŵr, as goel cereil diw mor dy bech siw na brerach yn em. Tre renni lord ma sor, van na cribassan yn maia goel chimma jay, as hugad de a coffin. As hug macari eim na siarwentenege, as hug e arw immerke sŵle na giltjenok. Nes hager eich houds wat gol romboo, de ren fer jou snapper al harish tamag. As lesje gref on, ren a sleg de choel fisjoenich, getlach mag as a skornachek. Harawe fode rosh me ben, me renny fosel na soelienek. Renny kjausus fargel a choppin, as renny saisus, as ish bio as ons fornu mai. Och nee, cred tammy dami. Ren macarico fregergy, as ledden de hartjes, tauus fagus doos, as dinchegy oluber hagert. Many and many a time did the then proprietor of this journal, the late Mr. Robert Farragut, that's Robert Bowring Farragut's father, knock personally as a reporter at the door of that house and request permission to enter. And an equal number of times did the keys return the answer, "We will not admit you." But wearied by his importunity, for single-handed he fought the battle and alone victoriously conquered, they hearkened to his voice and opened the door to the public. This was a great step, but the keys themselves have now taken a greater. They have recognized the cardinal principle that publicity is the life, the soul of government. No government can long be popular except in a community of slaves whose votes are recorded in the dark and whose acts are unknown to the light of day. Russia, Turkey, and kingdoms like these in medieval darkness, or enjoying but a glimmer of the coming day, may be governed by irresponsible ministers and held down and kept back by self-constituted authorities. The Red River Singers are a community choir led by Hilary Coleman, who plays with the band Dalla. Well, now she plays with the band Skilly Widden. In fact, the Dalla transmuted themselves into more of a Troil band. That's a Cornish Ceilidh band. And Hilary Coleman plays with them. And the Red River Singers are based in Poole, which is a village between Camborne and Redruth, near the Red River, which gets its colour from the minerals it picks up on the way. However, they weren't in that area when they recorded this. In fact, they were way up on the Rame Peninsula, in the village of Corsand.
And bay lying, with a blue Peter flying, and all hands on deck for the anchor to weigh. When off comes a lady as fresh as a daisy, and modestly hailing the damsel did say, and modestly hailing the damsel did say.
Ship ahoy, bear a hand there, I want a young man there, so leave us a mangrove or send him to me. His name's Henry Grady and I am a lady, arrived to prevent him from going to sea.
Arrived to prevent him from going to sea. Now the captain is on her, when he looked upon her, he ran down the side for to hand her on board. Cried he with emotion, what son of the ocean can thus be looked after by Eleanor Ford? Can thus be looked after by Eleanor Ford?
Then the lady made answer, that there is my man, sir, I'll make him as free as
on board. I've got sailing orders and he stays on board.
Then unspoke the lady, don't you mind him, Hal Brady? He once was your captain, but now you're at large. You shan't stop on board her for all that chap's order. And out of her pocket she drew his discharge.
And out of her pocket she drew his discharge. So they got a house greater than any first rater, with footmen in livery and in the drink, and a garden to go in with flowers all blowing, the buttercup, the daisy, the lily, the pink. The buttercup, the daisy, the lily, the pink. And he got education befitting his station, for we all of us know we're not too old to learn. And his best mates, they found him with his young uns all round him, all chips off the old block from the stem to the stern. All chips off the old block from the stem to the stern.
A song from the Rame Peninsula in Cornwall, and that's done right by the outfall of the mouth of the Tamar, in fact, really. That's the area where the Rame Peninsula is. And that was a song published in 1840 as Harry Grady and Miss Eleanor Ford, the Rich Heiress. And later, as here, it was called Corsand Bay in the 1910 Oxford Book of Ballads, edited by Sir Arthur Quiller Couch. He was a Cornish man himself, so he included a Cornish ballad, and he used the pseudonym Q, Arthur Quiller Couch. And the Red River Singers sang Corsand Bay. In the British Isles, maintains this leader, ministers are responsible to Parliament, and Parliament again is responsible to the people. So it is tending with us in this neglected little nook. Representation in the towns, and now open voting in the Keys. We shall not be greatly surprised one of these fine days to find that the Keys have resolved to become representative or nothing at all. The work of self-reformation has begun in earnest, if it will but go on. It stands to reason that our best men in the House of Keys would prefer being sent there by the voice of the people to being there on nobody's account. There's infinitely greater credit and honour in being returned as the choice of the people, and knowing that the people are watching you and looking at you as the jealous guardian of their rights and privileges, than sitting to be jeered at from year to year as a sort of legitimate game for every wit and punster to fling his ribald wit at. Es doet makkerierisch Bernard Snachty. Berliam us na weggerbys a kledden sail. Tar merum gus castjul me here, as by us me ben hesje. As for Bernard Snachty ginnel as high merish, as van vanish ook na kummel de steedoil as les stormit moer. Ach for quirren yes courage draag lias voor Bernard Snachty gus agin. As trevi comre heen ons Edian Ellen, haig as a gles hoerstelek as doorty. Gles hoerstal a wolle mortau, quavis a versela as ul you jou. Dregger a gles hoerstal, o ven rein, ne jaig op weg tau huish, tan ven fusi egg tau zijn kiert na sela rish. Esh dilly macht de lunach as renny gwee mollachten as we assa chielek, whish we mollich as corrie. Hoyach smunny nach jinnachy gulgus a vanish. Ach esh we gennachten na berg sheer biek, man a rowie gull as fagen the ven fusi. Coming to Cruniach this year will be a quintet from Ireland who play under the name Fili, which is poets, and this is their version of a traditional song about the nightingale.
One morning in May, I spied a fair couple come walking this way. The one was a lady so fair. The other was a soldier, a brave volunteer. the spring, to see the water glide and hear the nightingale sing. To see the water glide and hear the nightingale sing. To see the water glide and hear the nightingale sing. To see the water glide and hear the nightingale sing.
A song that went from this side of the Atlantic over to the Americas, and in Appalachia it took that sort of form, and it's been brought back by the group Philly, who'll be here for an Cruniach in a couple of months' time. Ach Claare na drach ben rein fag and a ben fúsi, ve en nekori mar benet sniachti, as ha doddy gleisige son farg as atchim. Son wat an jinnoer lu bregen jaren jurg che, as ondau vi Uri Downson, der a hutchi shies, as ish marrow. As shane a skiel mchion benid sniachti. The Manx Herald leader column concludes, we have then to say that the signs of improvement are so numerous and manifest that we cannot but hope a few years, a very few, will see a representative House of Keys. Well, that leader appeared on the 24th of May, but in the year 1865, and the following year came the legislation to make the House of Keys an elected body, and there were polls in 1867. And of course we go to the polls again later this year. As ma so Shanae a Chir Shaw to Gerra Claare Tarna Gera. Chris Pearson will be with you from 7 till 9 for your Sunday evening chill out, and at 9 Judith Lay takes you through into the early hours of Monday morning with Sundown. Claare Gael closes with music from a duo based in South Wales, Renee Gray and Andrew Fryer, who record as Ceredwen. Now, Ceredwen, keeper of the cauldron, was the Celtic goddess of inspiration and poetry, and legendary mother of Welsh bod Taliesin, he of the radiant brow Taliesin. And this track is called A Galwd, The Calling. Achten treer jit as saw until the next time then. This is Robert Getting Carswell, Robert a Carslach.
Oh, Bobby Bob.
Wishing you a very good night. Eve, I'm a Chriort, as that's me and share.